Stratter's Bobgar here, playing some $10 Humans in Modern. I get to go first this time. Hello. Good luck. This hand is super slow, but it also has two of my strongest cards. Man. Too much land. I'm going to keep it anyway. This could be a move that's full of regret, especially without a turn 1 play in an aggro deck. But if there's a hand that can get it done, it's the Reflector Mage Smuggler's Copter hand. Probably not against Green-Red Tron. And I draw another land. Alright. Alright, deck. I get the point. Well, Reflector Mage is terrible in this matchup. Just absolutely awful. And he has turn 3 Tron. Great. Yeah. Man, we're not going to get anywhere near winning this one. Alright, well. Land. I'm still going to try for a little bit and see what happens. Hopefully we'll draw into a second card we can play here, even though that could get us blown out by a sweeper. It's still probably worth it, just because we need to put some pressure on. None such luck. I'll discard the island and do 3 damage and pass turn. The Skyknight actually is pretty good against Tron, at least. Like, if he plays down Karn here, I don't feel terrible. What does he play? Wormcoil. Wormcoil is a little more annoying, but I do have, I mean, I said it's bad in this matchup, and it is, but so is Brave the Elements is also really bad, because he has, like, no colored creatures for me to care about, or colored spells. But if there's a time to play Reflector Mage, it is now. Get to reflect that back to his hand. Let's start up the Looter Scooter. To swing in for 5. Who knows? Maybe I'll hit one of my 1-drop white cards and be able to play it. Yeah, I'll definitely loot. I do. I'm going to play probably the second Woe-Reaper, which is playing a little hard into him, but I think I'm actually going to ditch the land, even though Brave the Elements is also terrible. Yeah, I still think I play Woe-Reaper. I really want to get in as much damage as I can, as fast as I can. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I'm just going to be too slow. Well, I can't play the Wormcoil here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's at 9 mana. He has Eugen, I bet. I was right. Well, that is the blowout card. That's the best one for him to have. And yeah, he eats them all. I can keep him from activating next turn while also hitting him for 3. Oh my god, the second one? Well, at least I get to loot it away this turn. Throw down Skyknight. Yep. Still gonna swing at it just because I really... That thing cannot stay on the board and have me... If that thing stays on the board, I can't do anything, so... I'm going to have to go after it. Yeah, I'm going to loot. Throw away Brave the Elements. Get rid of Eugen. And play down Soldier. Well, this is closer than I would have thought, especially given that he had turn 3 Wormcoil into turn 4 Eugen, but it's not very good. I'm very glad I have the Eugen detained. He probably just plays Wormcoil here. Oh, does he have Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger? Yes, he does. What does he destroy? Probably Smuggler's Copter. Smuggler's Copter, Skyknight would be my choices. Yep. Yep. So I think I'll wait to see what I draw, but I don't think there's anything I can draw in the deck that can get me out of this. I guess another Skyknight could take the Eugen out for a turn. I don't know. I kept a slow hand and I shouldn't have. So that happens sometimes. Alright, well, Meddling Mage definitely comes in. Disenchant, I don't think you're good enough. Reflector Mage actually didn't feel bad there. Skyknight is awesome. This is the one matchup where I wish I had more. Brave the Elements is absolutely awful, does nothing. Ghost Quarters come in. I'll go down 1 island, 1 plains. Thraben Inspector's a little slow. I think that's pretty good. I don't think I want to run anything else in there. I think I keep it like that. Alright, round 2 against Tron. I'm on the play this time, which makes it a lot better. This hand I think I keep. I got 2 Smuggling Copters, which are very good. They do survive a few of the opponent's spells as well, like Jin does not get rid of them. And definitely not a fast hand, but a much faster hand. So that's good. About the right number of lands, about the right amount of blue versus white. I can play all my spells. I could see a world where I play Reflector Mage onto an empty board just to swing with an extra Smuggler's Copter, but if that happens, that's life. Well, Meddling Mage, it's a turn too slow for you, I think. I'm just going to Smuggler's Copter here. And swing in for 2. I mean, I certainly could Meddling Mage on Wormcoil or on Karn or on Yujin. Let's see what he gets this turn. Let's see if he plays land, breaks Expedition Map. Alright, Cavern of Souls, interesting. So he doesn't have turn 3 Tron, which is nice. Plays Chromatic Sphere. Breaks Chromatic Sphere for green. He finds Nature's Claim. Oh, he uses Nature's Claim. I'm sure that slows me down. Not a huge deal, but definitely annoying. Alright. Unfortunately, I have a whole bunch of 2-drops and a 3-drop. Can't do all of them. A second Smuggler's Copter feels good. Yeah, I think that is the right play. Thalia also feels really good. That was my other thought. Chosen type is Worm, so I'll probably play Meddling Mage on Wormcoil Engine, which he can't play this turn no matter what he does, so I'm not super scared of it. 2 mana, breaks map. He gets Burn Willows. Interesting. His second Nature's Claim. Sure. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Swing for 2, pass turn. He's down to 4 life. Pass his turn, he's stuck on 3 mana. Meddling Mage. Could do Expedition Map. I feel like doing Wormcoil Engine just because he named that with his Cavern. But maybe that's not even... No, Wormcoil Engine's not even the worst thing, so... Maybe Expedition Map's not good either. Maybe I just do Yujin the Spirit Dragon. I know he has it, and it would blow me out. So I guess that's what I'll do. I don't know. It's a little tricky. Wormcoil just doesn't scare me because I just go, oh, you Wormcoiled, I'll Reflector Mage it. So he has a 2-turn clock here. Oh, he has a kill spell. Presumably. Probably on Thalia. He has to use all 3. Sure, that sounds good. Oh, it was a Warping Whale. And it does get Thalia. It doesn't get most of my creatures, but it does get Thalia. Well, he's up to 4 mana. It's a little scary. He has a Sweeper. Fire Spout. Sure, I did not think the name's Fire Spout, I will admit. He passes turn. I'm just going to play down the Skyknight. It's going to kill him faster than anything else. I really want to save Reflector Mage, because I feel like at 6 he very well might have Wormcoil. Dramatic Sphere, he breaks. Green. Ancient Stirrings, he gets. A mine, sure, he plays his mine. Sure, Oblivion Stone. Well, I'm a little flooded now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all I can really do is keep swinging and try to put him in a state where he has to break that soon. Doesn't really raise my clock to play any of these. I guess if I played them both it would raise my clock, but then he would set off the stone, which he does have enough mana to do, so seems fine. I think he's gonna win this, but I think he got super lucky. Well, I guess he got unlucky at the beginning too. He got unlucky on land and his ability to find Tron, but he got lucky on some other things. I'm not gonna put down any more lands, I don't think, because I have enough to play all my stuff in hand. Warping Whale, sure. That does put me in a hard situation, right? I guess I pass. I can't really afford to play anything into the Oblivion Stone, unfortunately. But this is just going to give him time. Like, there's nothing I can really do. Playing into the Oblivion Stone kills me. Not playing into the Oblivion Stone kills me. He has Ancient Stirrings. Does he find his final Tron piece? Or he just needs any land at this point. I guess he can't do it this turn, but he can do it next turn. He finds a... Oh, he can play that this turn. Oh, but he doesn't. Oh my goodness, I am super land flooded. And I guess I'll put down Thalia's Lieutenant, not that it really matters. Pass turn. And my opponent breaks his Oblivion Ring. Puts a counter on it. Oh, it puts a counter on itself, so it sticks around. Sure. That seems fine. He's up to 6. What does he do? He plays Batterskull like we kind of knew he would. Sure. My turn. Is this the 4th turn in a row that we drew land? It feels like it. It feels like the 4th turn in a row we drew land. So it's like, okay, say I jam Reflector Mage. This costs what, 3 to bounce? 1, 2, 3. Then he won't be able to set this off the same turn, or he can just set it off next turn, 2 for 1 me, but also kill his own Batterskull. You know, I guess that's the move. I mean, it gets him lower on life. I don't think sitting on it does much good if all I'm going to draw is lands. I'm hoping I draw a Smuggler's Copter at some point. Attack in, do 2 damage. It'll be interesting to see what he does this turn, whether he just sets it off. I mean, if I were him, I would just set off the Oblivion Stone. I think that's the safest play, but I could certainly see somebody not doing that and instead returning Batterskull to hand so he can replay it. But he also can play Wormcoil, which, given that he chose Worm with this, I would hope that he has in hand, although I guess maybe he just blind chose because... Man, I would think if you blind choose, you choose Eldrazi, though. But I guess, I mean, we could just play the deck differently, I guess. I don't think I would blind choose Wormcoil on Cavern. Six mana, sure. He does have Wormcoil. Okay, that's what I assumed he had. Well, that's not going to do it. I'm just going to scoop. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Tron is my nemesis. Hey guys, wrap up time for the white blue $10 human deck in Modern. So we went 3-2. It could have been 4-1. I had some big punts in the game versus Bluetron. The first of which was playing Champion of the Parish into the Chalice of the Void. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had to discard my second Reflector Mage to my Smuggler's Copter trigger. And then I would have had I would have discarded the Champion of the Parish instead, and then I would have had two Reflector Mages, which would have actually ended up winning me that game at the end. Or if I just had recast the Meddling Mage, which I meant to do, I accidentally moved to my end step when I meant to move to my main step. I think I was a little tilted, so I was like, yeah, F2 through this crap, and I just hit F2 one too many times. So yeah, that happens. But yeah, 3-2 is not bad. I actually really impressed. I thought it was going to be more like a 2-3 deck at best. We probably got somewhat lucky on our matchups, but we still did pretty well. And on the punt thing, I mean, one thing to note is I'm not a pro player. I make a lot of mistakes. I've never been to a pro tour. In fact, I've never been to a GP. And even Friday Night Magic is the kind of thing that like gives me jitters. I don't go out to that all that often. I'm kind of like an introverted nerd who sits around at home and plays Magic Online and League of Legends and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes. It's just something that's gonna happen. So feel free to point them out when they happen to me in the comments, especially if I don't note them. But it's just part of the game. Even the pros make them, and I make way more than them. So other things about the deck. It was not nearly as much as an aggro deck as I kind of intended it to be, and I kind of knew that going in. I mean, it does have Reflector Mage, which is kind of a tempo play. It does have Thraben Inspector, which is again kind of like a long game play, like drag out the game slightly. And I think that really hurt us in matchups like Tron, where Tron you can beat it, but if you're gonna beat Green Red Tron, you really need to just be able to win the game by turn 3 or 4, and often we just didn't have quite enough damage to win at that point. So it felt a little weak in those matchups, and it also felt like the humans were not the strongest point of the deck. I mean, the thing that people usually killed first, and the thing that always felt super powerful when it came down, was Smuggler's Copter. Smuggler's Copter was super powerful. It was a nightmare for our opponents, and it drew us into what we needed. And it's another card that made it feel more like a tempo deck than an aggro deck. So yeah, those are some kind of opening notes. Then I wanted to go through and do the thing I did last time, where I looked at the cards that I thought I did really well and the cards that I thought maybe weren't quite as good. So, and this isn't necessarily to say that these cards are bad in the deck or good in the deck. It was just my experience through the 5 matches I played. So the decks that really impressed me through the 5 matches I played, which was largely based on matchup, were Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. We have so few spells that it's just a very good card for us. And we were playing against a lot of things that were very spell heavy. Both versions of Tron are pretty spell heavy. We played against a control deck that was pretty spell heavy. We played against a tokens deck that was pretty spell heavy. And even that first deck we ran into, the one that had like fatal pushes and things like that, it wasn't super spell heavy. It was definitely heavier on creatures, but it was still a reasonable card there. They still had more spells than us, I suspect. So that one I think overperformed what I expected. I mean, I know it's a good card, but it did better than I expected. Also, just being a 2-1 first strike gets you by a lot of things, and it combos well with things like Thalia's Lieutenant to just make it a 3-2 first strike. Reflector Mage, again, this is the second week in a row that it's been on kind of the heroes list, and it's not surprising. It's just a very strong card. A lot of the games we won off of forcing through damage with Reflector Mage. It's just a powerful ability. It's also, one of our bigger creatures, a little harder to kill. And the biggest champion of them all was Smuggler's Copter. I mean, Smuggler's Copter definitely won us some games. Surviving board wipes in our bad matchups was super relevant, and eluding us away from lands. We got flooded in a bunch of games. Maybe 20 lands is too much to run in this deck. I do have a lot of 1 and 2 drops and only a couple of 3 drops, so it's quite possible I should have only been running 18 or 19 lands, but because our mana base isn't great, I didn't feel comfortable going that low. But yeah, the Smuggler, and I figured part of the reason I didn't also is because I knew the Smuggler's Copters were in the deck, and I figured they would help us loot away from all the excess lands that we would have. So the ones that didn't do so well, Brave the Elements, I know it can be good. I played similar decks and had it in the deck and had it be really good. Partly we just never ran into an opportunity where it was super good. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It usually phased a single target removal, but it wasn't like the best. Gather the Townsfolk, again, there's a few places where it pumped up our Thalia's Lieutenant or Champion of the Parish, and when it did that, it was great. But sometimes it was just like, oh, I put in 2/1/1s, they can chump block for a turn. They're just 1/1, so it's always the way it kind of goes. Obviously, if you hit them really late game, they can give you 5, which would be really nice, but we never ran into that situation. And the last kind of failure of the deck was Mardu Woe-Reaper. I noted it coming in. It was fine, but it's really just a 2/1 in the deck. It doesn't have an ability attached to it, and just a vanilla 2/1. The only real bonus of which is that it turns on Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant. Is just not super good. Other ones that I think performed really well. I mean, the first game, Soldier of the Pantheon, was amazing. I think in general it wasn't as good, but in that first game, just because they ran so much multicolor, it was super good. Student of Warfare overperformed. I think I had about the right number in, because getting more than one of them is really bad, but getting 2 or 3 is really good. It's a 3/3 on turn 2, and that's just pretty powerful, even if you do have to pay 3 mana into it. And the first strike is also pretty relevant. And then obviously the 2 human synergies were quite good in just pushing through damage in a couple matchups. They got removed pretty quickly in a lot of matchups, but when they stuck to the board, they became big threats, and they were hard for our opponents to deal with. Champion of the Parish and Thalia's Lieutenant both were very good. Thalia's Lieutenant also worked as an anthem effect in a lot of cases. Sometimes we didn't really want a second go tall with Champion of the Parish, and Thalia's Lieutenant allowed us to go wide and make the tokens we put in with Gather the Townsfolk bigger, and make all our Soldiers of the Pantheon bigger in that first matchup where they had a lot of multicolor, and we knew we could swing past and dodge most of their removal with it. So, yeah, that's that. And then I have a little bit on how I would suggest upgrading the deck if you wanted to spend more money on it. These are pretty high-level suggestions. I didn't want to actually build a deck and say, this is what you should do, but I wanted to kind of talk through choices that I would definitely make and choices that I might make, and what I would change where, basically. Cavern of Souls is an auto include. It's a super expensive card, but it makes your creatures uncounterable, which helps you a lot in control matchups, and it also, as long as you're casting creatures, it gives you perfect mana of the type totems Cavern of Souls, but we'd probably pretty much just be running humans. So Cavern of Souls would be very good in the deck. Kytheon, Hero of Akros, is a little bit expensive on Magic Online, so I didn't include him, but he's not a super expensive card, and I think he would be good as like a 2 or 3. I wouldn't put a lot in. Maybe put him in over like Mardu Woe-Reaper or something. His ability to make himself indestructible is pretty powerful, and he can also flip into a Planeswalker. It's not the best Planeswalker, but it's still more powerful than your usual 1-drop, and I think he's worth running a few of. We were running basically no removal. I would probably put in Path to Exile. Path to Exile is obviously a very good card. And Brave the Elements, the places where it was bad partly were the fact that it doesn't help us survive sweepers. So I think even though Selfless Spirit isn't a human, it might make sense to put in something like Selfless Spirit that's a pretty good flying body that can attack and then can also save our whole team from a wipe. I think actually saving our whole team from a wipe in most cases is going to be more important than giving us protection from all my creatures, protection from a color like Brave the Elements does. Selfless Spirit also doesn't clash with Thalia, which is kind of nice, and it also protects our Smugglers, Copters, which are not white, which is kind of nice. So Selfless Spirit is another one I think could be good. And then there's a lot of options if you're willing to go and get a more expensive land base so that you can kind of go more colors. If you're being an aggro deck with a cheap budget land base, I would definitely not advise going more than 2 colors, but if you're not, going 3 colors can make a lot of sense. Green is probably the one I'd be most excited about. There's actually one I didn't mention here is there's a Lord that for 2 mana that's not very good. I think it's Mayor of Averbruck or something like that. But Noble Hierarch is quite good. It gets you up to slightly higher mana, so you could go a little bigger on your creatures, and you could go for things like Collected Company, which again is very powerful. Red gets you things like Mantis Rider, which is just a 3/3 flying vigilance haste for 3 is really good if you can get it. So Mantis Rider is pretty sick. And then things like Abbot of Carol Keep. There's some other aggressive human creatures. One neat thing in red is some of the dash creatures could be kind of interesting just to trigger. I don't think they're worth it because they're kind of a win more, but they could trigger your Champion of the Parishes over and over again, like once every turn, things like that. And then in black, black is a little weird, but you get things like Dark Confidant, which can be good for the deck because in most cases you're going to be the aggro deck. You don't mind losing a little bit of life, and almost all of your spells are so cheap that Dark Confidant feels like you would fit pretty well into the deck. And Blood Soaked Champion is just a recurring threat. There's probably some other good black cheap humans that I'm not thinking of, but in general those are the 3 colors I would consider splashing if you wanted to go for a more expensive land base. And some of these cards are also quite expensive, especially the black and the green ones. Noble Hierarch and Dark Confidant, for instance, are some of the most expensive cards in Modern. So yeah, that's the deck, the $10 deck this time around. I'm probably going to be doing these about every 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks. I was trying to do every 2 weeks, and for a while I just happened to have them done at a rate of about 1 a week, but I think this one's even slipping a little bit past 2 weeks, and so 2 or 3 weeks is probably more realistic for me. I have a pretty busy life, and sometimes it gets in the way of making these things, even though I like to. But thank you guys so much for watching. Anybody who watched all the way to the end, which is probably not very many at this point, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. If you enjoyed this content, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/magicgatheringstrand.